Welcome to the Old Time Radio Superman Show. This is your host, Adam Graham, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, as we continue the Howling Coyote series. Last time, there was about to be a dance, and during the dance, the crooks were going to shoot Jimmy Olsen after a howl of the coyote, so they can get the chief's father, they can get Comanche Joe's father to believe that the howl of the coyote signals peril, and to get Comanche Joe to sell the ranch. That's the plot so far I've gathered. And we're going to get out and see how that works, but I do want to encourage you to check out Laser and Sword magazine, lasersword.adamsweb.us. Also, please visit our store, lulu.com/lasersword. I encourage you to go there. If you love this serial fiction, you'll love our stories, because they're modern serial fiction stories in the same spirit as these Superman stories. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the Howling Coyote Part 3.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Guys, look! It's a plane! It's a plane! It's Superman! And now, Superman, champion of the weak and the oppressed, who came to Earth from the planet Krypton with physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who fights a never-ending battle against crime and injustice, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a large metropolitan newspaper. Superman, in the guise of Clark Kent, and Jimmy Olsen are now visiting the ranch of Editor White's friend, Comanche Joe, out in the far west. Kent is to collect material for a story on the strange howling of a mysterious coyote, whose cry, according to Indian legend, means impending doom. In our last episode, we heard how Rawson, Comanche's ranch foreman, schemed to convince the Indian that the legend was actually true, so that he might force Comanche into selling his ranch and oil field for practically nothing. Jimmy and Kent are to be made members of the Comanche tribe. During the ceremony, Jimmy will have to do a dance on the great Comanche war drum. Meanwhile, Rawson's henchman, Dusty, will be lying off in the surrounding woods, waiting to shoot Jimmy with a rifle when he hears the coyote howl. No one besides the two villains, not even Clark Kent himself, knows of the danger that awaits Jimmy. We join them now on the Comanche reservation, where the tribal ceremony is taking place. Listen.
Comanche, this is really one of the most exciting things I've ever seen. Great fires blazing in the night, Comanche braves dancing around the great war drum.
Quite a picture, isn't it, Kent?
Certainly is.
You and Jimmy will have to do a dance on that drum before the night is over.
I'm afraid I'm not much on dancing.
Just watch how my brother's dancing around the fire. You'll catch on to it easily enough.
Hey, by the way, where is Jimmy?
Oh, over there with Tumbleweed Jones.
Oh.
Kent, I have never seen two people take to each other so quickly as Tumbleweed and Jimmy. In 3 short days, they've become inseparable. Tumbleweed talks about nothing but that young friend of yours.
And Jimmy talks about nothing but Tumbleweed.
Oh, wait. My father approaches.
Oh, Chief Running Fox? I believe that's what he's called?
Yes.
Certainly a fine-looking man. Sort of majestic in that war bonnet and paint.
Only break. My father, I wish you to meet our friend, Clark Kent. Kent and my father raises his hand. You raise yours.
How do you do?
We ready for ceremony. You ready?
I'm ready.
Little fella, him ready?
I believe he is, yes.
We begin. Aye, children. Ceremony about to start. Little fella, come forward.
Me, sir?
You.
Jimmy looks scared to death.
I don't blame him. No, there's nothing to be afraid of. Oh, here comes Tumbleweed.
He looks as if he's kind of enjoying all this.
Oh, he is. Hello, Tumbleweed.
Hiya.
Well, Jimmy looks scared to death, Tumbleweed.
Yeah, I've told him what to do and how to do it. Break his skinny neck if he don't do it like I told him.
How long is this ceremony going to last?
It'll take an hour or so for Jimmy. Then another hour for you.
Oh.
There, see? They're stripping him.
They're what?
I've got to take those eastern clothes off him and dress him in buckskin.
Oh.
Then they'll paint his face all over. Better relax and watch all this carefully, Kent. In another hour or so, you'll be going through the same thing Jimmy's going through now.
the initiation of Jimmy Olsen into the Comanche tribe continues. Meanwhile, lying off in the woods, waiting for the moment when Jimmy will mount the great Comanche war drum, waiting for the signal of the Coyote howl, is Dusty, Ross and Tension. A bullet chambered in his .30-06 rifle. A bullet destined for Jimmy Olsen. The tribal ceremony progresses. Listen.
Kent,
Yes, Comanche?
the time has now arrived when Jimmy will climb onto the great Comanche war drum and perform the dance which will admit him to the tribe.
The yearling looks as if he's enjoying it all.
Yes, Tumbleweed. I could see he finally began to realize there was nothing to be afraid of. You see, they are walking Jimmy toward the drum.
It seems funny watching little Jimmy surrounded by all those medicine men in strange headdresses.
Yes.
Oh, your father, Chief Running Fox, is walking with him.
Yes, my father likes Jimmy very much.
What name are they going to give Jimmy?
He will be called Teknokosiklaka, Little Laughing Squirrel.
Oh, and what will they call me?
To the Comanche tribe, you will be known as Rokonikaklek, which means in Comanche, the man with two pair of eyes. That's because of the glasses you wear, Kent.
Oh, I see.
Look there. Jimmy's being hoisted onto the drum.
Now the little fella's got to start dancing. Better get started there, little fella. Old tumbleweed puts an arrow in the radio breakers. Why, that's it, Jimmy. That's it.
Hey, Comanche, he's doing all right. Just like a real Indian.
Yes, Kent. He's got the spirit of the tribal ceremony. He will make a good brother to the Comanche.
I hope I can do as well. Oh, say, here comes your father, Chief Running Fox.
Young brave, do fine. Him make good laughing squirrel. I think he will, my father. How long before they... Kent, Tumbleweed, did you hear that?
Coyotes howl.
Comanche, you don't think that...
Danger near. Something happened. My father, that's foolishness. That's just a coyote, that's all. No, my son. When coyote howl, danger threatens. Is Comanche legend. Is true Comanche legend. I refuse to believe it. Kent, I leave it to you. What do you... Kent. Tumbleweed, where did Kent go to?
I don't know. Didn't see him go, Comanche.
This looks as though it's going to be a job for Superman. If anything happens, I want to be ready for it. The howl of that coyote may mean nothing at all. At any rate, they're going ahead with the ceremony again. So if it does mean something, I'm not going to be taken off guard. Well, there's Jimmy over there, still dancing on that drum. Nothing but the night and the forest surrounding those Indian fires. If anything is going to happen... Wait. Can that be the glint of a rifle barrel over there in the trees? And great Scott, it's pointing toward Jimmy. Up, up! Up! Thank heavens I've caught the bullet. Up, up, and away!
Tumbleweed, did you see that?
I saw it, Comanche, but I ain't believing it.
I can't believe it myself. I think I saw a man swoop down under the knife, pass Jimmy Olsen on the drum, then swoop back up into the darkness.
Thought I heard a rifle crack, too.
Well, Tumbleweed, whether we believe we saw it or not, my brothers certainly believe they saw it. Look at them, they're going wild.
Hey, what's been going on here?
Kent, where have you been?
Well, I just went around to the other side to get a better view of Jimmy dancing on that drum. What's happened?
Kent, you won't believe it when I tell you. While Jimmy was dancing on that drum, a figure, the figure of a man, a Superman, you might call him, flew down out of the night and... Oh, hello, my father. My son, your father, Chief Running Fox, salute and venerate you. Why, I don't understand, my father. You have brought into the tribe young warrior, to us called Laughing Square. He will be great chief, great medicine man. He is protected by flying eagle in shape of man. My father, do you believe you saw this thing? My eyes are old, but they are keen. I saw. Hear me, my children. When I, Chief Running Fox, leave you to go to happy hunting grounds, you will make chief one who has just come to us. He is guarded by great medicine. He is protected by flying eagle in shape of a man. White man call him Jimmy. We call him Little Laughing Squirrel.
idea, Rawson. A great idea. Now the Comanches think the kid is the greatest thing that ever happened.
You hadn't missed with that right.
I tell you, I didn't miss. I'm a dead shot, and you know that.
You sure don't expect me to believe the story about Superman saving the kid?
I don't know what to believe. I saw something, but it was going so fast.
You're crazy.
I tell you,
Shut up and listen to me. Regardless of what happened, you still pull this thing out of the bag. Now listen. We want to get our hands on these oil wells that Comanche Joe owns. Our job is to convince the Comanche tribe and their chief running buck that the legend of the Howling Coyote really has something to it.
We'll never do it now with them believing the kid is protected by magic.
Oh, yes, we will.
But, Rawson, how you going to do it?
Now, look, sir. The kid's aces with the tribe now, ain't he?
Yeah.
They think he's protected by some kind of medicine. But now we got to show them that medicine don't work against the coyote. When that coyote howled last night, those Indians believed it was a sign of common danger. But we got to show them they were right in believing that.
So what?
So this afternoon, you're going to take that kid riding with you. You're going to take him riding on Gentle Lamb.
I don't get it.
You know Gentle Lamb as well as I do. He's the gentlest horse on the ranch until you touch him with spurs. So, Dusty, you got to see to it that little Jimmy Olsen, little laughing squirrel, wears spurs.
Why, that horse goes crazy when you touch spurs to him, Rawson. He'll kill the kid for
That's what I'm
sure.
driving at. Take the kid riding in the general direction of the Comanche reservation. You get some distance away from the ranch, you present him with a pair of spurs. Kid will wear them, all right. The minute he touches Gentle Lamb with those spurs, the horse will go nuts, and it's curtains for the kid. When the Indians find him laying dead on the trail, I'll fix it for the coyote to howl. You get me?
I get you. To get the ranch, we've got to convince Chief Running Fox that the legend about the Howling Coyote is really true. And to convince him of that, we got to get rid of the kid. Okay, Rawson. I'll take young Jimmy Olsen riding with me this afternoon. I think I can guarantee that he won't come back. No, sir, he won't come back.
Once again, Rawson, Comanche Joe's ranch foreman, plots against the life of Jimmy Olsen. Will he succeed in putting Jimmy out of the way? Will his plan to force Comanche Joe into selling his ranch meet with success? Be sure to hear the next exciting episode of our story with Superman.
And remember, tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky, look, it's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Well, welcome back. You've got to love these diminutive nicknames. Laughing Squirrel and the Man Who Has Two Sets of Eyes. I don't know if those are quite the traits they want to emphasize, but this is a very interesting turn in the plot. If of course, obviously, a little tad stereotypical. Okay, just a tad. And you've got to appreciate some of the clever quick turns. I don't think I would have predicted coming out of this. So this story is looking to be especially interesting, given the fact that we found out in part 2 who the villain is and basically what their game is. We still don't know how the Howling Coyote thing is being arranged, but we'll find out that, I'm sure, in due time. But now we're going to do something a little different. I found out recently that just around the same time Superman was airing, there was another series that aired. It was called The Blue Beetle, or as the title would have it, The Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle aired actually for only a few short months back in 1940. Started airing in May after Superman, and did not last quite as long as Superman did. The show was over, I believe, by September. Began with Frank Lovejoy as the Blue Beetle, and then over time, we don't know who did the voice after the first 13 episodes. But the Blue Beetle is a story, and there's actually been some pretty significant amount of changes here in the way that this story that this story's gone over the years, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But since we've got two superhero dramas running at the same time, I decided for this week we're going to give you bonus coverage. So we're going to do the Blue Beetle Part 1 and Part 2. This episode is called, this is basically the origin episode of the Blue Beetle. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. The Blue Beetle origin series, and then the drug ring episode will be next week. But let's go ahead and get into the Blue Beetle origin.
The Blue Beetle. Sweeping down upon the underworld to smash gangland comes
the friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. The mysterious, all-powerful character was a problem to the police. A crusader for law. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle. As the Blue Beetle, he hides behind a strange mask and a suit of impenetrable blue chain armor, flexible as silk, but stronger than steel.
Today's episode of the Blue Beetle sends the Blue Beetle swooping down on a group of powerful underworld characters whose racket is dope. Will he be able to ferret them out? Can he hope to cope with this mysterious ring of ruthless men single-handed? Can he discover their leader and bring him to justice? As our story opens, our hero, Dan Garrett, is visiting his friend and secret advisor, Dr. Franz, who operates a little apothecary shop in one of the great city's side streets. He is restlessly pacing the floor in Dr. Franz's living room.
Look, Doc, why does there have to be so much red tape in police work?
Well, Danny, every organization has to have rules and regulations. That makes for efficiency.
Yes, but the criminals and the crooks we're set to catch aren't bound up in rules and regulations. You know, I like police work, but I also crave action.
You seem to get plenty of it as the Blue Beetle. I worry about you, Danny. The terrible risks you take. These crooks and gangsters are vicious, cold-blooded killers. They'd have no mercy on you if they caught you.
I can take care of myself. Besides, that suit of blue chain armor you made me in that mask are a great protection.
I hope they never catch you without it, or ever discover who the Blue Beetle really is. I'm afraid it would mean the end of Patrolman Dan Garrett.
Well, after all, Doc, you're the only one who knows. Even Mannigan is always saying what he'd do if he caught the Blue Beetle.
He's the officer on the beat next to yours, isn't he?
Yes, he was my father's pal.
I see.
He got me on the police force after my father was killed by a gangster's bullet.
And doesn't he suspect at all?
No, he doesn't. He's a good cop, but he's not very heavy above the ears.
What's that newsboy crying?
Something about a movie star committing suicide. Wait, I'll go get a paper.
Read all about it, extra,
Boy. Here you are, boy. Give me one of those extras. Yes, sir. Keep thank you.
read all about it.
Hey, look at this, Doc. Sandra Beaumont, the movie actress, committed suicide last night. The paper says she left a note on her dressing table which said, "Dope has become my master. No longer can I live without it. This is the end. Let my fate be a warning to all." What do you think of that, Doc?
I think it's tragic, Danny.
So do I. I'm going to do something about that dope racket right now.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm going to ask the commissioner to put me on special assignment to try and uncover the leaders of that dope ring in this city.
You'd better be careful, Dan. They'll stop at nothing.
Well, if I can't uncover them as Patrolman Dan Garrett, I'll get them as the Blue Beetle.
As our next scene opens, Patrolman Dan Garrett, Mike Mannigan, and Charlie Storm, ace reporter of the York City Sun, are standing on the corner watching a hotel suspected of being the dope ring's headquarters.
Uh-huh. That's the place, all right. Somebody tipped off my paper. Why don't we go in and raid the place? What, just the two of us?
Sure.
Don't be silly. We've got no evidence. The commissioner wants evidence. That's our job. To watch everybody that goes in and comes out of that place.
Me? I like action.
So do I. Hey, look.
Where?
That shabbily dressed man there. He just came out of that side entrance and gave a cigarette to that kid standing there.
So what?
Looks like the kid gave him some money for it.
He's a dope peddler. He's selling dope cigarettes, marijuana.
Marijuana? Boy, here's where I make a pinch. Hey, you there, I want to talk to you.
Come and get me, copper.
Oh, yeah? You gotta travel fast to get away from me, brother.
Go get him, Danny. I'll signal Clancy on the next beat. He'll head him off at the intersection. Look, Danny's diving for him. He's got him. Boy, that was a flying tackle. Sure what? Hey, look, that car there. There's a machine gun. Look out, Danny! I'm going to take a shot with my revolver as they pass. Yeah. Duck down behind those ash cans, Johnny. I'm already shot. Missed them, but got it. Did you get the license number of that car she passed? Yep. CB83725. It's probably a stolen car. Hey, what about Dan and the dope peddler? Those murderers get him? Looks like it. They're both stretched out in the street. You phone for the ambulance while I have a look. Okay. I'll phone my paper at the same time. Boy, what a story. Come on now, come on here. Break it up. Break it up there. Give him there. Hey, let's have a look at him. Oh, they sure got this guy. He looks like a sieve. Sure, and he'll never sell no more dope cigarettes to kids. He's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
Look at the blood, will you?
Yeah, look at
This guy here looks like he's dead, too.
Danny, it's Mannigan. How are you doing, Danny? What happened? Where's the dope peddler?
He's dead. You tackled him, and some trigger men in a car machine gunned you both.
Oh, I remember now. I saw the car coming.
Are you bad hurt?
I don't know. I can't feel much. I'm numb all over.
Well, here's the ambulance. You'll get a swell ride to the hospital, Danny, and maybe a citation from the commissioner for bravery in action. What's the verdict, Doctor? Will Patrolman Dan Garrett live?
Well, it's very doubtful, Commissioner. An operation is necessary to remove the bullet. But he's so weak from loss of blood that I doubt...
That's tough. He's one of my best men. Due for promotion soon.
Message for you, Doctor. Oh, thank you. Pardon me, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Well, this should be interesting to you, Commissioner. Read it.
Yeah, let me see. If my blood is the right type, I would like to volunteer as a blood donor for the brave Officer Garrett. Why, this is signed by my daughter.
Precisely.
She's convalescing here from her accident.
Well, she's almost recovered, Commissioner.
Yes, but, Doctor, is she strong enough?
I think so.
Then by all means, let her do it. I'm fond as well as proud of Dan Garrett. He's a fine boy, like his dad before him. It'll also make my daughter very happy. I have a sneaking suspicion she likes young Garrett.
The commissioner daughter Mary's blood proved to be the right type, and the transfusion was performed. Later, Danny was operated upon and a machine gun bullet removed from his abdomen. For days, he hovered between life and death. Then one night, when all was quiet, a strange man slipped by the nurse and stood beside Dan's bed.
Dan. Dan Garrett. Who is it? Who's calling Dan Garrett?
It is I, Dr. Franz, your friend. I've got something for you.
Hello, Doc.
Now listen, Danny. I want you to take this capsule. It's my secret 2X formula. It will bring you a speedy recovery.
Sure?
I'm positive. My formula will save your life, restore you to health in 24 hours. It will also give you greater vitality, keener eyesight, almost superhuman mentality, and it will give you abnormal strength. You will be a tough hombre when you get out of here.
Well, give it to me. I've got to get out of here. There's important work to be done, and I've got to do it.
The next morning, to the surprise of everyone, Dan Garrett was completely recovered. From Mike Mannigan and Mary Donnelly, the commissioner's daughter, who came to visit him, he learned that the commissioner had ordered extensive raids on all opium dens in the city. At one place, they told him, the police had been blown to bits by dynamite planted by the dope ring before they fled. Dan insisted on being released from the hospital and restored to duty. By mid-afternoon, he's back on his beat, fully recovered to health and strength by Dr. Franz's magic formula. That night, he visits the little apothecary shop of Dr. Franz.
Hello, Doc.
Hello, Danny.
Well, my 2X formula worked, didn't it?
It sure did. Hey, have a look at this.
A bullet, huh?
Yeah, that came out of me.
Well, let's have a look at it under the microscope. Wait till I close up shop. Pull down the shades, will you, while I lock the door?
All right.
There. Now we'll just give this bullet the once-over under the microscope. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
What is it, Doc? Have you got something?
I think so. This bullet was fired from a show-show.
A show-show? What's that?
Why, that's what the soldiers in the last World War called a certain type of French machine gun, because they couldn't pronounce the real name.
Boy, that ought to be easy to trace. There can't be many of those in this town. Got any ideas?
Well, there's a French novelist by the name of Philip Radin who collects interesting firearms as a hobby. He might know something about this gun.
Out into the night went Dan Garrett on the trail of the murder gun. But a changed Dan Garrett. No longer is he in the blue uniform of the city's finest. He wears blue, but it's the blue chain armor of the Blue Beetle.
The Blue Beetle! Drop that gun, Raiden. I've got you covered. It's no use, Raiden. Your bullet can't pierce this chain armor I'm wearing. I'm sorry to be so rough, Raiden, but I wanted that gun of yours. Now pick yourself up. That's better. I see you recognize my little calling card. The sound of my magic ray machine and the little beetle always signifies the presence of the Blue Beetle.
You frightened me, monsieur. I fired from nervousness. I had no desire to injure the Blue Beetle.
I see.
Oui, monsieur. What is it you desire?
I understand you have an interesting collection of firearms.
Oh, I make the hobby of collecting unusual firearms, monsieur.
Do you own a show automatic machine gun?
Oui, monsieur.
You have the only one in the city, I believe.
Oh, perhaps, monsieur. I do not know.
I'd like to see it.
Certainly, monsieur. Right this way.
And no funny business.
Monsieur, I am not in the mood for what you call these funny business.
Good.
Now, here you are, monsieur. This is the gun cabinet. The show, she is... Monsieur, she is gone.
Gone?
Oui, monsieur. Always, she is here in this place.
Come on, Raiden. Your pretended surprise sounds phony to me.
I
Cut it
said
out,
to you
Frenchie. Maybe you're on the level, then again, maybe you're not. I'll just dust this door for fingerprints and take a photograph. Now, you stand over there and don't make any false moves. Now, let me see. A little here. Some more here. Several fingerprints. Some of them yours, of course. Bring that floor lamp over here while I photograph these. Now, hold it steady. That's right. Now, that's got it.
Oh, you find something?
Maybe yes and maybe no. Now, you get this straight, Raiden. If you want to finish that novel or whatever you were typing when I came in, just forget you ever saw the Blue Beetle.
Well, I assure you, monsieur, I have no wish
Good.
to be...
If you're on the level, you're safe. If you're not, well, the next time you meet the Blue Beetle, it'll be just too bad.
Whom will the Blue Beetle call upon next? Whose fingerprints were on the doors of the gun case? Is Radon, the French novelist, a member of the dope ring?
Welcome back. There is definitely a difference in writing between a show that made it 4 months and a show that lasted in its original form for about 3 years. Some of this is amazingly over the top. Even compared to Superman, which has had some interesting moments. We've got a pill that restores the young patrolman back to health. It's actually a quite remarkable recovery. And then he's out as the Blue Beetle. And again, we see, just as was the case with Superman, begins as kind of a very tough character. Though I guess the non-specificity of the threat at the end was kind of funny. He says, if you meet the Blue Beetle again, well, it will be just too bad. It's like he was going to make a threat, and he had the idea of making a threat, but he didn't know what to say, and he'd already started to make the threat, so he just went ahead and said the first thing that came into his head. Oh, didn't work out too well. But we're going to unravel this mystery. We're also going to get a little bit deeper into the rest of the Howling Coyote story. So I encourage you to join us back here when we go ahead and do part 2 of this adventure of the Blue Beetle, which is the drug ring, and then we will return with part 4 of the Howling Coyote. Again, I encourage you to check out Laser and Sword magazine, lasersword.adamsweb.us. Visit our store, lulu.com/lasersword. For now, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.